Well, hello there, and welcome to Medicare Made Plain, brought to you by AssureSource. Over the last few videos, we've talked about some foundational knowledge that you need when you're starting to learn about Medicare. We've talked about Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, Medicare Part C or Medicare Advantage, and we've also talked about supplements. Today we're going to take all of that knowledge and kind of condense it down into really the three different ways of doing Medicare, the good, the bad, the ugly of each of those, and then kind of what type of person fits into each one. Yeah, the biggest question that people have is whether they should do a Medicare Advantage plan or whether they should do a Medicare Supplement plan. And so hopefully over the next few minutes we'll be able to take all this information that's out there and kind of condense it into a Reader's Digest version, if you'd have it that way, and make it a lot more simple and hopefully give you a better understanding of what plan would be best for you. Well, again, thanks for stopping by our little place of business, and we hope you learned something today. And let's get into the video talking about the different ways of doing Medicare. You know, when folks find out that I do Medicare, one of the first things they say to me is, why does it have to be so complicated? You know, it is kind of complicated, and it doesn't help things that when you talk to some folks, it becomes, they get you more confused than you were beforehand. When you go into Medicare, they send a book out to your house that's this thick, and it's written in such a way that oftentimes you're more confused than you were when you opened the book. And so what we're going to try to do is kind of distill all that information down and make it as simple as we can in just a few moments. In reality, there's only three ways of doing Medicare. You have supplements, you have Advantage plans, and then we have what we call the popular alternative. And what I'm going to do is talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of all three of these, and then what type of person fits into each one of those. So hopefully by the end of this video, you're not going to know what company that you need to go with because of your area is going to be different, okay? But you should have an understanding of what type of plan is best for you. So let's start with supplements. A supplement is still going to be the best plan available as far as coverage is concerned for somebody who is on Medicare. Once you pay your premium and you pay your deductible, in 2025 that deductible is $257, as long as it's a Medicare approved procedure and you go to a doctor who takes Medicare, you won't pay for, you go to the doctor, you go to the hospital, you pay nothing else out of your pocket. Okay? The drawback to a supplement is the cost of the insurance. For somebody that's turning 65 that goes on a Plan G, and a Plan G is by far the most popular plan as far as supplements are concerned, you're looking at about $135 to $150 time you include a Part D plan. And that varies a little bit. It might be a little bit less than that, a little bit more than that, depending on the state that you're in. So that does vary a little bit area to area, but that's a good rule of thumb, is $135 to $150. But remember that you do still have to pay your Part B premium, and that premium this year is $185 per month. So then you're looking at a little bit over $330 for your care. And that's not terrible, but understand that that does go up every year. And it's not based on your health, it's based on the health of your population group. You said, Dustin, what in the world is a population group? A population group is people that are your age, in your area, on your plan, and are your gender, okay? And so you can get really lucky and your plan doesn't go up very much, or you can get really unlucky and you're in a very unhealthy population group and your plan can go up quite a bit. Okay, from a year-to-year basis. What you normally see is they don't go up too bad to 70. They start to go up a little bit more at 70, and at about 75 years old, you start to see these plans go up quite a bit more, okay, because it's based on the health of the population group. All right, so because of that cost, a lot of people go with Advantage plans, okay? Now, even though we have that cost there are still people who need supplements. The first group of people that need a supplement is going to be anybody that is on a very expensive Part B drug. Okay, that's going to be somebody that maybe has an autoimmune disease that need to take a Part B drug. Part B drug, again, if you haven't watched our Part B video, is any drug that goes into your body through a mechanized device. Okay, and so a lot of autoimmune drugs are Part B drugs. If you have to get iron infusions, something of that nature, any type of infusion, or something through an IV on a daily basis, those are all Part B drugs. And if you're on that type of medicine, you're going to need to go with a supplement, because it doesn't matter what the supplement costs, it's still going to be cheaper than paying 20% on an Advantage plan for those drugs. Okay, the second population group that needs a supplement, and by far this is the biggest group of people that need supplements, and there's nothing wrong with this, is there are a lot of folks, they don't care what the plan costs, they just want to pay their premium, they never want to have to worry about networks, they never want to have to worry about prior authorizations, anything of that nature, never want to worry about co-payments and things like that. They just want to pay that premium, their deductible for Part B, and not have to worry about anything else. Okay, and if that's you, then a supplement is for you. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, but because of the cost of these plans, for the first time ever, more people are on Advantage plans in the United States than any other type of plan. Advantage plans work similar to the way employee insurance used to work. Okay, if you go to the doctor, you're going to have a copay. Okay, your primary care doctor, you're probably looking anywhere between free for the copay on up to $25, $35, depending on the market that you live in. If you have us go to see a specialist, you're looking anywhere between $25 to $65, something like that. If you have tests run, usually x-rays are going to be $15 to $20. Blood work is about the same amount, that kind of thing. Any of your radiological testing is going to be a couple $100. So it's not terrible, but when you think about Advantage plans, they really have three holes. Okay. The first one is going to be hospitalizations. All right. If you're in the hospital, most plans, depending on your market, are between $250 to $400 to $450 a day for the first 4, 5, 6 days that you're in the hospital. Okay, and that's per visit. So if you have a bad year and you're in the hospital 2 or 3 times a year, then you're going to pay quite a bit out of your pocket when you're looking at $400 per day for that first 4, 5, or 6 days, depending on your area, per visit. Okay. The second hole in Advantage plans is going to be observations. Some Advantage plans charge 20% for an observation. If you don't know what an observation is, we talked about that a little bit in our Part B video, but an observation is where they can hold you in the hospital without ever admitting you into the hospital. And this is something that we're seeing more and more of. They can actually hold you in observation for 72 hours. Okay, and so depending on the area that you live in, it can be either a copay or that 20%. And the third part, the third hole that is in Advantage plans, is going to be cancer treatment. For somebody who gets cancer, if they need chemotherapy, chemotherapy is a Part B drug. Okay, and 20% of a round of chemo, can be $4,000 or $5,000 when the average round of chemo costs $20,000 to $22,000, depending on the type of chemo that it is, and it can go up of far greater than even that. And so there's really three holes: hospitalizations, observations, and cancer treatment. Now, because of that, we as a company, between these last two, okay, between Advantage plans and the popular alternative, do the popular alternative far more often, but there are still people who just need an Advantage plan. If you're a veteran and you can get treatment at the VA, or you can get treatment through TRICARE for Life or CHAMP VA, there's no reason for you to pay for anything else. There are Advantage plans out there that are designed just for veterans that help with the cost of Part B and things of that nature. And the second group of people that just need an Advantage plan is going to be somebody that maybe their income is at a place where it's kind of low. Maybe they get help from the state, and we can confidently say that if they were to get sick and have to have one of those three big holes, okay, hospitalizations, cancer treatment, or an observation, that we would be able to get the hospital to write those amounts off, okay? If somebody's income is low, I'm never going to tell them to pay for anything, then one of the free Advantage plans is probably going to be the best plan for them. But because of those three holes that we talked about, the popular alternative is by far between these last two options, the one that we do most of the time. What we do is we take an Advantage plan. We make sure that it has all the hospitals that you want to go to, all the doctors that you want to go to. More importantly, the hospitals or doctors that you may need to go to in the future, so that if you say need a really complicated back or hip or knee surgery, you need to go to the Cleveland Clinic, or you need to go to Duke University or for a detached retina, or you have cancer treatment and you want to go to MD Anderson or Emory University in Atlanta. We make sure all these big hospitals are included in the Advantage plan, and we take that plan and we marry it to a hospital indemnity plan, so that what this company doesn't pay on all the big stuff, this company pays. So that once we put those together, okay, if you go to the hospital, you pay nothing out of your pocket. If you have to have cancer treatment, you pay nothing out of your pocket. If you have to have surgery, you pay nothing out of your pocket. If you have to have an ambulance ride, you pay nothing out of your pocket. If you have to have an observation, you pay nothing out of your pocket. Okay, so all the big stuff is covered 100%. You'll still pay to go to the doctor. Okay, your primary care physician again would be between $0 to $25 in most markets. Okay, you'll pay to see a specialist between $25 to $45 in most markets. It can be a little bit more in some others, and you'll pay to have a test run at a separate facility. So if you go to the heart doctor and they send you to the hospital to get an MRI, you may pay a couple $100 for an MRI, but that would be the only cost that you would pay out of your pocket, okay? All of the big stuff would be covered 100%. So what we're able to do is get you really close to the level of care under a supplement, okay? But instead of it being that $150 a month, you're looking at $75 a month to $80 depending on the market that you live in, okay? And where this $150 a month goes up every year, once you get that rate at $75 to $80, depending on where you live, that rate is your rate forever and ever, amen. Okay? It never goes up after that. It locks you in for the rest of your life. So you say, Dustin, what's the catch? Okay, the catch is it's still an Advantage plan on the popular alternative. Okay, so you're still going to have prior authorizations, you're going to have to deal with networks and things of that nature. That's why it's very important to know that you're getting on the best plan for your market where you live. Okay, so that you know that you can trust the plan that you're going with, that you know that you're not going to have problems jumping through hoops and things of that nature. But for the majority of people, okay, depending on the area that you live in, it's going to vary quite a bit depending on your state. But for the majority of people in the United States, folks who are just your regular average Americans, the popular alternative usually saves them money every month. They never have to worry about getting a big bill for care as far as hospitalizations, cancer, or for observations, and they never have to worry about their premium going up on them every year, so that when they're 75 or 80, their monthly bills get to the point where they can't afford them anymore. Okay, it's kind of the best of both worlds. Again, it does vary quite a bit from state to state, market to market. So you say, how do I know for sure the best thing to do? In other words, what if you need more help? You know, we've talked about the three different ways of doing Medicare. We talked about supplements, we talked about Advantage plans, we talked about the popular alternative. So hopefully you know what type of plan is best for you, but you're not going to know what company to go with, and that's going to vary greatly depending on where you live, okay? Because of the relationship they may have with your hospital system and doctors, things of that nature, even the medicines that you're on. And so how do you get that help? How do you know what company to go with? Well, you always can reach out to us here at AssureSource. If you do so, those will come to me, okay? And then I will distribute them to the agent that is closest to you and best equipped to take care of your particular situation. If you'd like to contact us, there's 3 different ways of doing so. They're listed down in the description of this video. As always, if you would like this video and subscribe to our channel, that helps us to get in front of more folks that may have needed help just like you did. Well, again, we thank you for coming by our little place of business. It's our prayer that you learned something today, and we hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.